Hello Africa, a very good evening and a warm welcome to yet another informative edition of your favorite Pan-African show, Bottomline Africa. My name is Yusuf Ibrahim, and tonight I'm going to tell you why women across the continent want more than just roses and chocolates for Valentine's. Well, I'm talking about women leadership in Africa, and we have our panelists ready with me in studio. We're going to discuss that tonight, and at the same time, I'm going to tell you more on the development down south as far as the political situation in South Africa is concerned. The program begins right now. First, let's go straight to our highlights tonight.
The NEC of the ANC has decided to recall President Zuma.
South Africa's ruling party, ANC, set to move a no-confidence motion against President Jacob Zuma as he declines to step down. South Africa's elite anti-corruption police unit raided the family home of the Guptas with close links to embattled President Jacob Zuma. The leader of the Oromo Federalist Congress, Bekele Garba, is released from prison a day after his supporters staged demos. And tonight we'll be telling you why women across the continent want more than just roses and chocolates for Valentine's. Good evening once again. If you're just joining us, the program begins right now. And on our Twitter poll tonight, we are asking you, do you support the move by the ANC party to force President Jacob Zuma out of power? Do you support the move by the oldest political party in Africa, that is ANC party, to force President Jacob Zuma out of power? Our Twitter handle, as usual, is at KTN News. You can as well tweet me at Yusuf Ibra. The hashtag, as always, is Bottomline Africa. I'm going to go through some of your comments within the program. But now, let me begin with our top story tonight. Naturally, we have to begin from South Africa. And President Jacob Zuma says he was elected by Parliament and will leave Parliament to decide his fate in his response to the recall order by his ANC party. Now, Zuma said he disagrees with the manner in which the party's executive committee resolved to have him vacate office. President Zuma says he wanted to work with the new ANC leader Cyril Ramaphosa to ensure a smooth transfer of power. In a long-winding defense, Zuma accused the party leadership of betraying his trust.
Do I agree to resign or not? And I said, but you can't discuss one element of a package. You don't just say we ask you to resign. You put facts. Why do we think you should resign? These are the reasons. They are not there. I've never been told. So that is my problem. Yeah. I'm told now they're taking a decision that tomorrow in Parliament there's going to be a vote of no confidence. Nobody has even come to me to say we are moving if we don't move. What is the rush? I've been asking this question all the time. I have a feeling that the leadership is unfair. It's not even helping me to understand what is it that is so critical. It's just that, you know, you must just go. You must just go. I've got a problem with that. They're taking me to Parliament, and of course that's how I came in. I came through Parliament. If Parliament says we don't want to, those are the people who elected me. Why should there be a problem? I would be out. Some people may not like this, may feel there is something wrong. And I'm saying because in the process of the deputy president being removed in 2005, I've been a part of that problem. I became a president while that problem was brewing. And today, I'm just left with totally 1 year to go. We are still trying to deal with those matters. The leadership of the ANC, if it's not careful, they might actually cause a bigger problem than we think.
Now, as President Jacob Zuma remains defiant, the ANC party has set a no-confidence motion against him for tomorrow. Now, this signals an imminent ejection from office of a man who has been at the helm of the country for the past 9 years. Now, the move by ANC to eject Zuma via Parliament has been supported by the opposition party as well.
So I have now reported to the caucus that the NEC of the ANC has decided to recall President Zuma. and the deadline is today. No, you are going to ask me that question. We are now proceeding with, as the Chief Whip, to proceed with the motion of no confidence tomorrow in Parliament. If the presiding officers can feature that in, so that President Zuma is then removed, so that we can proceed to elect President Ramaphosa as the President of the Republic, so that he's able to deliver the State of the Nation address, possibly before the budget speech next Wednesday, but I will leave that to the presiding officers because it's clear that the time is now congested.
The likelihood of all of us agreeing to a sitting tomorrow is very, very good in this meeting we're having at 2 o'clock. But you'll also know, as I do, that the economic freedom fighters have requested the Speaker to bring forward their motion. We are bringing in the ANC reasons why the President must be removed. It looks like we are all in agreement that the President must go. All parties similarly are in agreement, including the ANC. That's why the Treasurer General was here to tell caucus that the NEC has recalled President Zuma.
He deserves to be impeached and to lose his benefits. Why should the people of South Africa continue to allow him to have an easy retirement after all the damage he's wreaked on both our politics and our economy?
We're going to engage in a terminative motion of no confidence that is going to end the presidency, the painful presidency of Jacob Zuma. And the ANC seems to have come to its senses in terms of working under the leadership of the EFF in terms of what happened.
Certainly the die is cast. The time has come for President Zuma to either resign or we will use constitutional methods to remove him in Parliament. And with the support of the ANC, that's going to be very, very possible.
And still, developments in South Africa, and South African police raided the home of the Gupta family as part of a probe into allegations the three brothers had corrupt links with President Jacob Zuma, who has been ordered by the ruling ANC to quit as head of state. Now, that amid a probe into allegations that the Gupta family used their links to influence to Zuma to win state contracts and influence cabinet appointments. A dozen members of the elite Hawks police unit blocked off a street leading to the family home in Johannesburg. Zuma and the Guptas, a family of wealthy Indian-born businessmen, deny any wrongdoing. But a police spokesman said the raid was connected to allegations of influence peddling. It's not yet clear what was seized, or whether the business premises of the Guptas will also be raided.
Well, if it is what it is, and that is that, the Hawks, being one of our enforcement agencies, are here to raid the Gupta residence, I think, it's about time. Yeah, it's about time this happened. I think everyone has been waiting for it. We've been wondering why it hasn't happened. But now that it's happening, I mean, that's good. Yeah, and as I say, about time it happened.
I hope that any hidden secrets may come to the surface, and that will give a lot of people in our country a bit of peace of mind, hopefully, and the hope that moving forward with South Africa will be a bit of an easier task.
I just drove past and I saw what was going on and heard about it on the news, and I just think it's quite a watershed moment in South Africa to come and witness what's going on here.
South Africans are on tenterhooks as their scandal-tainted president Jacob Zuma remained defiant against his party's decision to recall him from office in an atmosphere of growing political turmoil.
I think that Zuma must go because he's very corrupt. Firstly, with him and the Guptas, he must just go. Him and his son have been destroying everything, so Zuma must just go.
We had enough. Our children had enough. Look at our communities had enough, and I think we have come to the point that he has to go.
It was about time, because we lost a lot of supporters because of him.
Now, still down south and away from politics a little bit, and the country on Tuesday, that is South Africa, declared a national disaster over a drought that has ravaged parts of the country and threatened to leave the city of Cape Town without domestic tap water. Now, in a notice published in the Government Gazette, the Department of Cooperative Governance said it had elevated the drought to a national disaster after reassessing its magnitude and severity. Cape Town is in the grip of a catastrophic 3-year-long drought as past winter rains have failed to bring relief and dam levels have dropped to dangerously low levels. South Africa's second city is now facing the prospect of having to turn its taps off under a so-called Day Zero scenario to conserve the city's remaining water supplies. On Tuesday, the predicted date for Day Zero was pushed back to June 11th after consumption cuts, but widespread drought has gripped large parts of the south and west of South Africa. The statement said that declaring a national disaster will mean that the national government was responsible for tackling the issue and ensuring immediate relief efforts. Now, let's cross over to Ethiopia, where Ethiopia released a senior opposition leader from prison on Tuesday, that is yesterday, and dropped all charges against him a day after demonstrators blocked roads and staged rallies in several towns to protest against his incarceration. Now, Bekele Garba, Secretary General of the Oromo Federalist Congress, that is OFC, was arrested in December 2015 after mass protests broke out in the Oromia region after accusations the farmers were being forced to sell land with scant compensation. He had been held initially on terrorism charges, which were later reduced to charges of incitement to violence. Bekele's supporters took to the streets in celebration after they had their leader, along with 7 other opposition figures, were freed and that the charges against him had been dropped. Now, Bekele's release came amid a 3-day strike across Oromia province, which surrounds the capital, as well as mass pardoning of dissidents by the government aimed at reducing unrest that has simmered since 2015. And nearly 6,000 prisoners have been freed since January this year, mainly people who had been detained for alleged involvement in unrest in the Oromia region or, to a lesser extent, the Amhara region of Ethiopia.
Always as an Oromo, the very well-known crime with which the government accuses us is we are terrorists, actually. As you know, in this country, whoever asks or demands about his rights will be labeled as a terrorist, and therefore I was accused of terrorism. We were released because of the pressure that is building up from the people. I think that's the main reason. Otherwise, the government doesn't want to listen to us and always doesn't believe in that kind of peaceful struggle, because itself came to power by a violent struggle, by arms struggle, and what it knows is about the trend of that kind of struggle, and never accepted any peaceful struggle.
Over to Guinea, where protesters clashed with police in the Guinean capital of Conakry on Monday as tensions rise between opposition and government supporters in the country, and as the country awaits local election results. Now, protesters in the opposition stronghold of Ratoma, a suburb of Conakry, threw stones at security forces who responded by firing tear gas and warning shots amidst post-electoral tension that has fueled anti-government sentiment. At least 7 people died and 50 were arrested in violence last week after Guineans went to the polls on Sunday in a long-delayed local election for mayors and neighborhood chiefs. Now, the opposition last week said it will not accept the results, claiming fraud. The violence is linked to opposition fears that President Alpha Conde may seek to change the constitution to seek a possible 3rd term at elections in 2020.
Décision s'impose.
It is important to explain, 1, the Electoral Commission does not yet have all the results of the municipal poll. 2, some results have not yet arrived at our commission here at the CENI, that is the National Independent Electoral Commission. 3, some ballot sheets have been challenged and are before the judges in some constituencies. It is imperative that statutory jurisdiction clears the challenge before any announcement.
Over to Sudan, where more than 1,200 refugees from Sudan are now crowding into Gadez in northern Niger after fleeing Libya. Now, the hope of reaching Europe has been lost by most of them after falling into the trap of smugglers, while UNHCR and partners are providing the emergency assistance to the new arrivals from Niger in Bagasola in Chad's Lake region. An interagency team, including the United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator, UNHCR's acting representative, and other UN agencies, as well as the head of Chadian Refugee Commission, undertook a field visit to further information on the massive population movement between the two countries. Now, the group started arriving from Niger in their thousands in Bagasola region, in Lake region, Western Chad, during the week of 17th of July. Chad's Lake region hosts over 8,000 Nigerian refugees, including the 6,000 residing in Dar es Salaam camp and some 100,000 IDPs.
Even the pregnant women, they kill her. Once dead, they do not leave her alone. They tear her stomach. They take the child who is inside. They throw it on the tree. We hear the world talk about human rights. For us, we do not have human rights. We have heard that there are international organizations that have opened. We could come. The situation now is unbearable. It is not human.
I have been bought like a slave in Libya. He put me in a room called Guantanamo. I stayed there 15 days without eating, just give me a cup of water and I drink it, and he punished.
What we can do for the moment is not much, and we have already explained this very well to the Sudanese, especially the Sudanese. So for the moment, we can only take the minimum and in fact give them the minimum until the situation is clarified.
It is the 14th day of February, and you know what happens in this kind of a day. It's Valentine's season, and Ugandan chocolate maker Stephen Sabunya is hoping he can promote his brand made from locally grown cocoa beans as the ultimate way to show love this year. Now, Uganda is best known as a coffee producer, ranking as Africa's biggest exporter, but it's keen to boost output from other cash crops such as cocoa. Sabunya is making chocolate at his confectionery factory, Pink Foods Industry. Now, the chocolatier and his co-founder started the company back in the year 2014 to create a business that could process cocoa beans from his family's plantation. Sabunya, who holds a degree in human resource management, says by adding value to cocoa, he wants more people to know that Uganda has the potential to reap more benefits from his own beans, which are mostly shipped abroad. The beans are grown on a family cocoa plantation in Buyukwe district, eastern part of Kampala, on over 600 acres of land.
Women, men, kids, children love chocolate. Chocolate is lovers' or Valentine's Day drug of choice, and we really want to use this opportunity to get everyone excited. That's why we came up with a package of having customized chocolate. We've set up a huge factory, so that means we're going to increase our capacities. We'll be able to produce 1 ton per day, and this simply means we're going to have drinking chocolate, cocoa butter, and the chocolate itself for confectionery, for hotels, for dessert, and then export. We'll have more export because the biggest number of chocolate that we make here is exported to Germany and a few other countries in Europe.
It's very nice chocolate, and I'm a lover of chocolates. Though it comes with weight issues, but you would have chocolate once in a while. And if a friend of mine or any guy was advancing and brought this chocolate on Valentine, I'd be delighted. It's really nice.
If my partner brought me a chocolate with my face, my initials on it, I would feel very overwhelmingly happy and welcome her I will welcome the chocolate with a warm heart.
Now, thousands of people from across the African Great Lakes region attended the Amani Festival in Goma, that is in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, during the weekend. Amani, which means peace in Swahili, is in its 5th year and aims to try and change the story of a country mired by conflict and give residents hope for peace. Some of Congo's top artists like Ferregola, Jupiter and his band Okwesa headlined this year, along with artists from Burundi, Rwanda and Uganda, as well as a traditional troupe of dancers from Congo. Now, Eastern Congo has been gripped by armed conflicts for more than 2 decades. The country has been grappling with a fresh surge of unrest since President Joseph Kabila refused to step down at the end of his mandate in December 2016. His decision emboldened several rebel groups and raised fears that the vast mineral-rich country is sliding back into civil war.
The Amani Festival is a big deal because it opened a big door for me, and some people are nervous for me because this will be the first time that I will perform on a big stage like the one at the Amani Festival. There is no peace here in Goma because people are being killed, kidnapped all the time.
Now, some film critics are calling it the best Marvel movie so far. Others say it's a correction after years of neglecting minority talent in Hollywood. Now, the predominantly black cast of superhero movie, well known as Black Panther, hopes its combination of African pride, beauty and adventure will also mark a cultural shift in the movie industry and beyond. And the Disney movie opening worldwide this week tells the story of T'Challa, Black Panther, and the new king of the futuristic, wealth-laden African nation, Wakanda, who is challenged by factions within his own country. Analysts expect it to rake in some $150 million at the North American box office on its opening weekend. And the filmmakers hope it will encourage studios to invest in more mainstream, racially diverse films. Now, the movie starring Kenya's own Lupita Nyong'o also premiered in the lakeside city of Kisumu yesterday.
Let's go! Hey, look at your suit. You've been taking bullets, charging it up with kinetic energy.
Put around the truck. Ready, go!
Sometimes art, you know, it tells a story of history, and sometimes art makes history. Sometimes art is aspirational in terms of what life should be and what we should aspire to. And so, hopefully, you know, when people see Wakanda, and I think see the heart of these people, that they can see themselves in these characters.
So I hope that this gives people a new sense of respect and curiosity towards Africa, you know, because it is extremely diverse, the African continent. And even the cast who made this film is diverse, you know. As much as we all have dark skin, we are from everywhere around the globe. There is Zimbabwe and Kenya and South Africa and Nigeria and Ghana and Guyana and Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago and Germany and the US and Canada and the UK and you name it, there's someone from there. So, you know, it's just so wonderful to have a film that really showcases the Pan-Africanism, you know.
It's just to do this in a superhero movie is where it's the new territory. And and Ryan and all the cast was so passionate about getting it right. So that like it feels like it's speaking, it can be specific but still be general to the whole of Africa, because we're taking stuff from all the, because Wakanda's not a real country, you know. So it's like have it making it feel like the African country everyman, you know, or every woman. Do you mean to say it's like everyone can understand and get into it, but then still Western audiences can take it in and relate and take something from it.
Right now, I think people need to be empowered, and you know, the fact that it's an African superhero and people get a chance to look at themselves in positions of power and feel that, and is important, you know.
And for the world to see this particular, you know, part of the world, you know, this African nation, you know, on this continent, and all this brilliance and excellence, to see that you know it exists there in Wakanda, and that it's possible to see that affirmation there upon the screen, especially in this day and time, I think is extremely important, especially for our young people and our youth, you know.
Now, Kenyans will have to wait a little bit longer before cheering their own, that is Sabrina Wanjiku Simada in the women alpine skiing at the ongoing Winter Olympics in South Korea. Now, wind disrupted the competition, forcing the organizers to push the event to Thursday this week. That is, of course, tomorrow. Now, alpine skiing is all about speed and technique as racers hurtle down steep slopes. Now, the clock starts when the skier pushes through an electronic bar at the starting gate. Times are taken to the nearest 100th of a second. Actually, just let's take a look at that particular competition.
One means automatic disqualification. The skier with the fastest time wins. There are 2 speed events, the downhill and the Super G, 2 technical events, the slalom and giant slalom, and finally the alpine combined, which is mixed. The downhill course has few turns and gates are widely spaced. Racers crouch into an aerodynamic tuck position with their skis apart as they go almost straight down the slope, reaching speeds of up to 150 kilometres an hour. At times, they can become airborne as they fly over bumps in the course. The Super G course is shorter than the downhill and has more turns. The giant slalom's even shorter with more gates and more frequent, sharper turns. The shortest alpine skiing event is the slalom. The skier goes from gate to gate in less than a second. There are 2 types of gate, horizontal and vertical. Competitors ski as close as possible to the gates and are constantly on their edges. The alpine combined is a short downhill race followed by a slalom run. The 5 events are virtually the same for men and women. For women's events, distances and elevations are slightly reduced.
Well, and that report on Sabrina, of course, we wish her all the best in that competition. Takes us to a very short break. But when we return, we're going to have a studio discussion. Stay with us.